Hi ladies, welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. I am here today. I am interviewing my friend Janelle, and so this is going to be a really fun interview. I'm really excited about this today. So thanks for joining us. We're continuing with Tea Time Tuesday, and this is actually we are not continuing with it. We will be. This is our last episode of this season. And so I really hope that you enjoy this interview. It's going to be amazing. But then we will give more information as time goes on of what we are going to be doing. Tea Time Tuesday is not done. We're just going to end this season with this interview, and then we will let you guys know what's coming. But today I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you're here. I want you guys to know my friend. And many of you might know her, but you might not. And so, Janelle, tell us a little bit about yourself, just to introduce yourself and let people know who you are.
Well, I'm a Libra. I like long walks on the beach. Just kidding. I'm Janelle. My husband Andrew and I, we've been married for about 7 years, 7.5. Oh, that was a test.
Yeah.
Anyway, and we moved down to Medford from Portland about 2 years ago. Actually, almost exactly 2 years ago.
On the birthday.
On your birthday. Yeah, because you're God's greatest gift to me.
I know this is right.
And we've got a 5-year-old son named Sam and a newborn named Joshua.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. And what do you do for work?
Oh, yeah. I am a nurse over at Providence. So
Yeah.
I work in the ER.
And you've been a nurse for how long?
A long time. 16 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, okay, so just so that you guys know, Janelle and I were, we were hanging out because Janelle called me one day. And this was, I think, was it in February, January?
It was in January, yeah.
And it was actually a really nice morning. And she was like, hey, do you have time for a pastoral call? And I was like, what? Yes? And she's like, okay. And well, she ended up coming to the church, and we went and just got Buttercloud and hung out. And it was actually a beautiful day, so we sat outside. And there was just some stuff that was coming up in our conversation that I was like, we have to do this podcast. Little did we know what was going to happen in your life since then. But
we could not have known.
No, we had no idea what God was going to do in your life. And so in the last couple of months, there's been a lot that's happened. But we were just talking a lot about the waiting process. And so I don't know if you want to share just a little bit about kind of what that morning was about and what was coming up in you. Yeah.
So that morning was about, I found out that my brother and sister-in-law were pregnant.
Yep.
And cat's out of the bag. This waiting podcast is about my kind of struggles with infertility and the waiting of that. So as you can imagine, Sam is 5, and so we have had no other children, and we've had lots of practice, and it's just, still waiting.
Yeah.
And so, to hear that, it's like there was a conflicting of emotions, because of course I'm thrilled for my brother and my sister-in-law. They have experienced loss as well, and so it's like I was thrilled for them, but then at the same time it was just like, how much more of this can I take?
Right. Always
it's
the question that we ask the Lord.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for them,
Right.
but how much more?
I feel like I've really reached maturity. I can stop being tested. No, that's never it.
Yeah, totally.
So
yeah.
Anyway, so I was pretty upset that day, and just sad, just literally sad. And so, yeah.
Yeah, so we just spent the morning just talking, and I can relate in some ways too, just waiting for a husband and the promises that God has spoken to my life. And so there was just this understanding, and we just got to be really real with each other that morning in the time that we had together. And we just felt like, okay, let's talk in this podcast about what that looks like.
Yeah.
What has the waiting looked like for you? So do you want to just even share a little bit about that? Like, what has your waiting process looked like?
Yeah. So, I'll tell you that the most significant emotion I've had in the waiting process, the biggest one anyway, is just anger, just like rage, like why? And anyway, month after month after month after month of negative pregnancy test, and anyway, and so I think that anger, especially for me, is always self-protective, and so I think what that so it's been 4.5, 5 years since we've been trying, and in that I have received I've had dreams, and I've had words, and I've had like moments in worship where I have just literally felt like the Lord promised physical healing, spiritual rest, and pregnant hope. And and so it's like even just wrestling with like pregnant hope, like I know that technically that could be interpreted a lot of different ways, but it's like, no, Lord, like you know me, you know my heart, like you know what pregnant hope would mean to my heart. You created it, and so anyway, and so like I said, lots of this fiery angry where it would be like one thing after another. I have, super bad endometriosis, and so it's like another ovarian cyst, another, crazy painful period, whatever, know. So anyway, I said it. I said period on camera. But anyway, and I think for a while I just wanted to just like kind of like hide, like this is all, like, okay, I'm just going to internalize this and, and work through it. But then it goes on and it starts eking out, and it was just like, and I think that was a very, very gracious way of the Lord to say, there's some stuff in here, and it's like, and I was not, familiar with, I've been a Christian my whole life, but I was not familiar with like, I came from a very legalistic background, very like, you just come to the, church with a smile on your face and you don't need anything. And so, like really like opening up my heart to some of the more painful places felt very vulnerable and very scary to me, because I didn't want to do it, but at some point, like it was like the Lord just very gently was like, hey, we gotta get to some of this stuff because I want more for you. I have freedom for you, And so anyway, one of the most important things to share is of why this struggle has been so hard is I had an abortion when I was in my 20s, and so it's like then you fast forward to my 30s and you're trying to get pregnant and you're not getting 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 pregnant. And just the isolation and the shame that I felt, I felt like, well, this is just what I deserve. This is my punishment, like the Lord trusted me to be a mom when I was 24 and that was my shot. And look what I did with it, and so and to carry around that very private pain, because that's not something that you talk about in a church where you're supposed to have all your business together, and so, and that is just, it's such a shameful, lonely place to be. And so it's just like, as I started to open my heart to that and tell some of my close friends, and, then we moved down here and I started, praying a lot with Sarah Lee, and she was able to walk me through some of that, just like where do you find Jesus in that? Because he never left, and this is not punishment. I am the Lord's beloved, and it's like so hard to believe when that's a part of your history, and so anyway, so there was that really, really impactful time, and just being able to kind of just give the Lord those places of shame, give the Lord and say, what do you say about this? You say it all the time, like, where's the exchange, I didn't feel worthy to have the exchange. I felt like I should carry that shame forever because that's what I deserve, but that's not his heart for me. And I think another area of what that waiting looked like was just learning how to, like, I think my biggest struggle, aside from the self-protective anger, was believing that the Lord was good, no matter what, even if my circumstances didn't change, believing that he was good. and it's like, well, yeah, you can give lip service to that because that's the
what we
Sunday.
sing on Sunday.
It's what the Sunday school answer is.
Yeah.
But it's like, in my heart of hearts, did I believe that? And I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled with that and wrestled with that and wrestled with that. And I mean, if you know me, which you do, but I mean, sometimes it looks like a physical wrestling.
That's right.
Like there are some colorful words.
Yeah.
There are some punching,
Yeah.
and it was just, and I think that that's the really beautiful part, is that it's like, in this whole process, I mean, I have not done it perfectly.
Right.
I have not done it linearly, but it's like the Lord has shown up every time, and it doesn't matter if I'm screaming at him in my rage, like he's bigger than that.
Yeah, he's not afraid
He can
of
take
it.
that, and it's like, and then it's like this, after those times, it's like there's always this return to peace, always this return to joy, and like learning contentment and learning, it's just, but he showed up every single time.
Yeah.
Well,
and if it's like one of those things with waiting, like if we get what we've been waiting for too early, then we've missed steps in the process that he wanted to take us through. And a lot of times we try and intervene ourselves to get it done, right? Like, I need to get this done, and I want this. And he's like, man, if you would just take the steps in this process, I'm with you. Yeah, let your rage come out. Let's have it out, me and you. But I'm always going to show up with my goodness, with my love.
Totally.
I'm always going to show up and be in your life no matter what is going on.
Totally.
And so I think even in the 2 years that you've been here, I've seen such growth in your life of just you pressing in, and you get bad news and you press in, and you hear someone else is pregnant and you press in, and God has just grown in that relationship with you deeper and deeper and deeper, to where you now do say, God's good. All the time I feel that. It's not something that I'm just saying anymore.
No. And it's like, there's been times where at the beginning of all this, it's like, well, God, I just, like I'll be happy when,
right.
Or I'll be content when, and it's like, it's not true. Right. And it's like, so when we met that day in January, it was just like, I think I literally said to you, I wouldn't change one day of this process.
Yep.
Because I am a different person today than I was when we started this.
Right.
And, and it's just like, and what the Lord has done in me to create intimacy between us, to know who I am, to have that freedom, like I wouldn't trade one day.
No.
I would have whatever 4.5 years times 12 months of negative pregnancy tests, because it just, that was the bigger part of the story.
Totally.
And it's not done.
No, it's not done. No. So that leads us to kind of where you are now. So as you heard, she said that there was another child in their life.
Surprise.
And so, and she didn't get pregnant with him.
No.
She didn't just, like, since January, had a baby so fast. So how about you tell us?
Pregnancy cycle of a fruit fly.
Yeah, right. How about you tell us about Joshua?
Okay. So Kim gave me this amazing Christmas present. She wrote off to these people about my name, and they prayed for me, and they came back with a word, and it's on a necklace that I love, and it says awe on it. And she wrote this beautiful card, and she just said, I believe that this year is a year of awe and wonder. I'm like, okay, well, I'll take that. That's like my tiny little struggling, barely hanging on heart. Some days it's like, oh, okay, I can hope one more time.
Well, and it wasn't just okay, that's the word.
No.
And so I'm just gonna put this out there as a little,
No.
I actually was hearing that from the Lord, and so were these people that had given the word as well.
And that's amazing when there's two sets of people that don't know. I mean, it's like that, and
there's just some confirmation.
There is confirmation in that. So anyway, and so and there was just a couple of other things, that Elijah list prophecy that you shared with me, and just it just felt like this stirring, okay, God's doing something. God's doing something. And it's like, that's even hard to believe. In the, the 4.5, 5 years that it's been, it's like, I know he's been doing something, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
So, but there felt like there was this stirring. And anyway, a good friend of mine, she goes to the church here, Suzanne Sartain, called me up on January 19th and said, hey, I have this friend that I work with who works with another gal who's pregnant, and she has been looking for someone to adopt her baby and hasn't found anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, come
What?
again for a big fudge?
Seriously.
Huh? How about?
Yeah.
And anyway, she said, so Andrew and I, we like wrote a letter and submitted some pictures and that kind of stuff, and then she sent the email along to this gal kind of through the chain. And then maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks later, we got word that she wanted to connect with us. Mm-hmm. So we talked over the phone a couple of times, and in the midst of this, it's like, my husband, oh man, he's the kind that just like has this exuberant hope and zeal and faith, and he's like, all right, babe. He's like, go, because secret story is she's 8.5 months pregnant when we connect with her. So this baby is cooked. This baby could come any day, and so Andrew like loaded the car seat in the car, we just have to be ready, and we're just going to go until she says no or until the Lord says no, and so I'm like, oh, bless you. I need you in my life. But,
anyway, was painting the baby room.
Yeah, got the nursery all ready and like washing all the baby clothes we saved from Sam and, everything. And anyway.
Was still no answer.
No, this is all like, and that was the other, it's like, okay, we're decorating this nursery and we don't know if she's going to pick us. Like, this is the longest shot, so just like, but knowing who the Lord is and how he has always been, it was like that kind of faith would not have been possible at the very beginning. No. Not at all. But it's just like, okay, I mean, like, I'm trusting that you've got this, like this is clearly from you. I didn't go find her, you know?
No.
So.
Well, and the thing that you need to hear as well is it was about a month before you had heard about this baby, you had flippantly said to the Lord, we don't want to go through DHS. Is there another way we can do this? Because you'd been in the process with DHS and it just had been really hard.
It had been hard, and there had been a long time. And, I think DHS is obviously a wonderful organization, very needed. But there was some really discouraging aspects of it. And so I was just like, well, I can't do it. Like, negative pregnancy test, DHS, negative pregnancy test. Just like, So anyway, so it was like literally like a month later, and the Lord was like, oh, okay, you done with that? All right, let's hear,
How about this way?
Like, why do you usually do that? So anyway, so the birth mama and daddy came over and they met us, and we had a really great conversation. They met Sam, and they were able to kind of see our house and feel like, okay, this child can be loved here, and they ended up choosing us. And then so from the day that they chose us, which was February 13th, until the day he was born, which was February 24th, that was 11 days.
Yep.
It was just
crazy.
Bam, like.
So you got to be at the hospital.
Yeah, Asante was wonderful. They set us up in a bonding room, and so we were able to have him like an hour after he was born. And we just have a very sweet relationship with the birth parents. We're able to hug them and say thank you and cry with them, and they're just very they're very resolute in their decision, and they think this is the best thing for Joshua. And I'm just like, well, I just don't even understand the capacity of the gift, the enormity of the gift that you're giving me, but thank you.
So he has been home for a couple weeks, and things are going well. He's 3 weeks old today. The day that we're actually filming this.
That's right.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So.
Well, I love just the process that God's had you in, and just how you have not given up on the Lord. Mm-hmm. You have held on to him through the ups and the downs. And it's been amazing to watch. And so then to just even celebrate with you as the Lord is like, here, I have this for you. It's been incredible. I cry all the time about it because I just think, oh man, this is amazing, Lord.
It is. And it's just like, I mean, okay, getting pregnant and having our own child, of course, that would be amazing. But it's like, even in this, it's like, this is not second best.
Right.
Like, the Lord has shown up in every single way possible and has taken care of every last detail. And it has just felt like a flood of like his overwhelming love,
And last night we were talking and you said, what about the promise? You said,
I said, the most important thing is that it's like, I don't want to come on here and be like, oh, I got my promise, like, that's not it.
No.
It's like, Joshua is not the end of that story. He's not the promise, he is an incredible blessing and he is an absolute miracle. And it's just like, I will never stop praising the Lord for the fact that I have him as my son, but it's like the promise is freedom. The promise is, and if that's not done either, but it's just like the Lord saying to you, to me, to you, that I love you. Like, trust my incredible love for you. And it's because of his love that we have freedom, because he wants to get into those hard places that seem so scary and seem so insurmountable. But just to say, no, my love is bigger than that, and this is what I have for you. These are our little visions for ourselves, and it's not even compared.
So much bigger. Yeah. So as we close up, I just want to give you an opportunity to talk to the ladies about those, and like for those that are in that waiting space right now, that are maybe wrestling through it like you are. What is there any piece of advice that you could give them as they are in that place?
Well, I think there's lots of ways to accomplish things, but and of course the Lord has different things mapped out for us individually. But I can tell you, I started in Song of Solomon, and I was so uncomfortable because it's just weird if you don't know how much Jesus loves. It's uncomfortable. I was like, okay, this is a little much, but I mean, I think I read it like, I don't know, 18 times, and just like, like, okay, and pressing in and like believing like this is his love for me. This is what he says about me. This is, and it's just like, so I think that definitely the book of Song of Solomon.
And you read it in the Passion Translation, right?
I did. Yeah. Read it in the Passion.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's an incredible book anyways, but
But just the language that the Passion uses, it just, I mean, it gets you. And then I think the other one that has been super impactful to me is just reading through the Psalms and reading and being able to relate to David. And like, growing up, I used to think like, he's so moody. Like, he's such a weenie whiner. Whiners are wieners. But then it was like, as I'm like diving into this, it's like, oh no, I mean, like, his high and low of emotion and his high and low of, like, just this angst and then this amazing joy and praise is just like, I felt like such a dichotomy until like the Lord was able to get in there and be, and I was able to admit to myself, no, that's exactly how I feel, and just to like
give yourself that permission.
Give myself that permission, and then just to see like over and over, like David's return to joy and David's return to belief in the Lord, and and belief in his goodness and stuff like that. And so anyway, I mean, I would start there, really dig in there and ask the Lord what he has in it for you. I mean, his return is never going to be empty, right. So I would definitely,
that's good.
And then I just think that, and like I said, I mean, I shared a very personal anecdote, but if that is something that, that is true to your story, or, or if there's something equally that you feel shameful about, I would just say, like, it is a total lie from the enemy that you will not be loved.
Yeah.
If you ever tell the truth about that, if you ever confess about that, that you will be, it's like, it's his goal to keep us in isolation, and it's his goal to keep us in shame, because it literally will kill you from the inside out.
Yeah.
And so if there's any piece where there's shame and isolation, whether it's related to abortion or not. I mean, just to find someone to talk with, you know, maybe a good friend at the very beginning, and maybe a counselor. I mean, I think it should always include a counselor.
Totally.
Just my bias, but because there's just some really deep stuff that's there that, you know, friends are amazing, but there's also counselors offer an incredible resource. So.
Yeah, God wants full healing, and He wants to give you full freedom. And when that's locked up in you and you're not able to share that, then that freedom isn't happening. Right. And so as you've experienced just that freedom in the Lord by releasing those things, by hearing what He says, you know, by meeting Him in those places and knowing that He was with you, it has then set you up to then receive the gift that He does have for you. But it was all His process.
Yeah.
Right? And so,
well, and if you keep that locked up, if you keep that little secret or a huge secret locked up, I mean, then it's like, well, yeah, you know, 80% of your heart or 95% of your heart or whatever is like, oh yeah, Jesus loves me, I love Jesus. But there's this little, you know, chink in the armor that, you know, that's where you don't believe it. And because it's isolated and because you haven't allowed, you know, the Lord into that space, or even, you know, trusted people into that space, it's just, it's not enough.
Yeah.
He wants the whole thing.
Yeah,
you know, he wants the whole thing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I know that was a lot, and that there's so much more to the story that we could talk about.
I'm like 25 minutes.
I know, but I do appreciate that, and I love you so much, and I'm just really proud of you and the journey that you have taken, and I just really appreciate you sharing your story with us today. So thank you.
Well, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. And we would love to hear from you. If you have any comments about this, or want to even just encourage Janelle as she shared her heart, we would love to hear from you. So leave us a comment below and let us know what you think. And then, like I said, this is the last one for this season. And then we will be starting up again, but we'll give you all that information soon. So check us out on our Facebook page, and we will talk to you soon. All right, have a good day.